Hi, this is Genevieve Griffin, and I'm from Small Steps Go Places. And today we're doing the Going to College 101 topic interview for Leveling Up. And today I'm interviewing Aaron, who is finishing his sophomore year at the University of Michigan. Hi, Aaron. Go Blue.
Hi, Genevieve. Go Blue. Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. So, leveling up is a term that I know from the gaming world. And when I think of leveling up, I think of playing a game at a certain level and mastering it by killing everybody or whacking all the moles or doing whatever that level requires, and then going up to another level that's different. And so I'd like to talk about, before you got to college, did you understand how to measure the progress that you were going to be doing in college as a young adult?
I think that my particular high school experience prepared me well for college in the sense that it was a rigorous high school. That being said, I didn't know necessarily what to expect when I actually did go to college. So from the leveling up concept, I would say no, I wasn't really sure what challenges I would be facing.
I wonder, when you arrived at college as a freshman, what were you hoping the first day and the first few weeks would be like?
I think I had very little expectations. I think I went in not knowing what it would be like and kind of letting myself be an open book for the first little bit. And then once I got acclimated, start to think about, okay, what direction do I want to take this in? Did
you, so that first year you lived in a dorm when you were a freshman?
Yes.
Were you in a single or a double or a suite or?
It was a double. I had a roommate.
And did your roommate also approach things with an open mind as much as you're describing that you had?
That's a difficult question to answer because now he's one of my best friends in college, and it couldn't have worked out more perfectly. He was a randomly assigned roommate, but he is also a quiet person. So before we became good friends, I can't say I knew what was going through his mind during those early days that you're referring to.
So now you can look back if either of you have any interest in talking about it, but you didn't know. You had your state of mind.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I think I know he got through first semester well. Second semester was interesting for both of us, if you want to talk about that. But first semester, we both had pretty general freshman schedules, a little bit of first year writing and a little bit of a more quantitative course, and just a little all over the place as we were settling into college. So I think it was second semester where, at least from an academic perspective, the college experience really kicked in.
And I that was going to be my next question. From first semester to second semester, what happened?
Okay. For me, I went in undeclared. I knew what some of my interests were coming out of high school. I'm a science-oriented person, but I didn't declare a major right away. Midway through first semester, I declared chemistry as my major, and I actually wasn't taking a chemistry course first semester. And then second semester, I elected some challenging chemistry courses, and that was when the academic rigor really kicked in. But at the same time, it was also each semester has been a progression of narrowing my coursework and my interests in coursework aligning as becoming more and more focused as I figure out what it is that I'm interested in doing. And that was the start of that process.
So that's a nice lead into how you develop in college. You're doing a very good job of talking about academics and representing what ends up happening in the first couple of semesters very well. When I think of how people develop in college, academics is part of it, but also the concept of going to college and evolving as a person are also part of it. Sometimes those things are pretty strongly connected. And by going to college, what I mean is when someone's in high school, a lot of their daily needs are taken care of a lot of times by their mother, where food just ends up showing up. Laundry gets done, and everything. And then in college, you're in charge of either making these things happen or going to the place where you can get them. So how is that going to college part for you?
I think a general statement I would make is be open-minded and willing to explore. And I think that was reflected in the academic experience I've mentioned so far, in that I had this broad array of classes first semester, which could be called exploring, and then started to figure it out from there. Socially, I think it's a very similar thing where you can't force individuals to be your friends. You can't force one student club to be the one that you love. But what you can do is go to the first meeting, the mass meeting for 3 or 4 different clubs, and see what they're up to, what kind of people are in those organizations, or more social events. Go to a few, dorms usually have like hall meetings at first, or go to a few parties if you feel like it. And from there, once you've tried a few things, you'll realize what spoke to you, where you felt comfortable, where you want to go back to. And it does take time, and that is definitely a challenge. And for some people, it'll take longer than others. But over the course of first semester, you'll start to figure out where it is that you belong, where it is you want to be, and who you want to be with. But that starts from pushing yourself to try out a few different things. I think that's the key point. The one thing you should not do, even though it might feel like the easy way out, is stay in your dorm and not go anywhere, because you can't possibly learn from there.
Did you know people who stayed in their dorm and didn't go anywhere?
I knew some. And I should be clear, some people are definitely more introverted than others and maybe don't need as much social interaction as others. So this is definitely a person-by-person basis. But if you need social interaction, do not stay in the dorm.
How did you find the dining hall?
Like literally walk to the dining hall? How did you find
the whole experience?
Oh, okay. I thought you meant, did I get lost
the dining hall? That's an important part of freshman year, is finding the dining hall.
And look, maybe you do get lost your first day, but that's okay. Then by getting lost, you found something else. So there's value in that too. The dining hall, I was very impressed with. I thought the food was great. And speaking to what you were saying about at home, maybe food is prepared for you. Freshman year, when you're in the dorms and you have a meal plan, food is prepared for you. That's actually the easy part. And maybe the quality of food will depend on the college or the university. I was very happy with Michigan. Not everyone was. It's my sophomore year where preparing food for myself has become a part of my routine.
Because you, from freshman to sophomore year, it sounds academically like you've become more focused on the direction that you want to take academically, more focused, but you've also changed the how you're going to college portion of your life as well. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So as we've been talking about, I was in a dorm my freshman year. This past year, I've been living off campus, meaning it's housing not through the university, but it's a 5-minute walk from central campus. It's a co-op, so there are 23 people, myself included, living in the house. And
it's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people, but we have some collective responsibilities. So a couple of people cook dinner for the house every night. Some people are responsible for cleaning the hallways or the bathrooms. So everything still gets done. It's pretty well organized. And I cooked Monday nights. That was one of my chores. And that's definitely something I didn't do freshman year because I was in a dorm. I didn't have access to cooking facilities. And at first I thought that might be a task, something I don't necessarily want to do, but is on my schedule. But I quickly learned that I really enjoyed cooking and trying out different things. And of course, most people won't have to cook for 23 people, but cooking is still cooking. And as you do it, you learn what things you like to make, what spices you like to use, and it becomes an enjoyable thing to do.
Did you find people in the co-op had assignments and it just was not the right assignment for them to have?
In terms of chores and maintenance of the house? I think that does come up from time to time. In this particular housing situation, one person's job is to be the work manager and assign the chores. So in the event that something's not working out, they can move around chores so that responsibilities fit people better.
And so just to clarify, so you cooked on Mondays all semester. That was your job.
Correct.
So you didn't switch back cooking on Mondays for this month, cleaning the toilet for this month.
Right. It was a semester-long position.
Wow. Okay.
So the co-op actually made dinners easy because other than Mondays, every other night someone else was cooking and I didn't have to do that. Lunches I did prepare for breakfast and lunch was self-prepared. So I was still making food for myself every day.
Oh, wow. So that was really a full line of food preparation experiences, both individually and then for groups of people. So that is a large piece of education that has nothing to do with your academics at college.
Correct. But I definitely feel that maybe freshman year, it was fine that might be the more traditional college experience, being in the dorm and you have your meal plan and you go to classes. But as I get older, I value more and more I value the life experiences, which is cooking, even as simple as doing my own laundry, but taking care of myself. And still, of course, I'm in school to learn and academics are my priority, but I see a lot of the value in doing these other life activities as well.
Had you done your laundry before you went to college?
I think once or twice, maybe.
So you didn't have the pink underwear syndrome?
No.
Okay, good.
I never did.
But do you know if any other people in your dorm had that experience?
Rumor has it that detergents don't leach the color out of clothes as much these days. I don't know if that's true.
No, that's not always true. But,
okay.
But that's. I could see that being an evolution with detergent.
Well, I'll confess, I didn't do separate loads of darks and lights, and I didn't have a problem. So, for what it's worth,
you chose a good detergent.
Or I took a big risk.
Or you took a risk in it, and it
but
worked.
I can't say I know many or any college students who took the time to separate their laundry. At least freshman year was not a priority. Priority was having just clean clothes in general. For me, at least. I can't, not for every college student.
Well, that's usually the story that I hear. Everybody finally decides that they need something clean, so they find all their dirty clothes everywhere in the room, put it into the hamper, go stick it in the in the washer, and then bring it all back. Maybe they fold it, maybe they don't, but they know it's clean.
Well, I'll say I was better than that. But
oh, good.
I did see some people along those lines, certainly.
Well, college is a place to meet a lot of different people. So then the evolution. So you grew up in a large city. And so you didn't live in a house with a garage or go to a small elementary or high school, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Where some of the people who are at Michigan did that. I know because I went to Michigan, and that was my experience. And even though I'm older now, there are people who are replicating that experience. So in the first semester of college, can you think of briefly two people who you met who changed your worldview by you learning about their worldview? Yes,
absolutely. For me, going to Ann Arbor was a town, right? A small city, but it was small compared to what I was used to. And I might have mentioned that to a friend, and they said, oh, well, Ann Arbor's the big city for me. And that put things in perspective. It's like, I guess you're right. Other people at times were talking about their towns where they grew up, but really, really bragging by saying, oh, we had a Taco Bell or a Wendy's or White Castle. Someone else goes, well, we had a Chick-fil-A. That's bizarre to me. My bragging point, if anything, would be that we don't have those. So we have everything, but that it's just, it's different backgrounds there. But that definitely helped me to see that we were all coming from different places, and entering college was going to be a different experience for each of us based on those backgrounds.
Did you ever talk with friends about, at the end of the 4 years, how everyone, despite their different backgrounds, is going to be a graduate all from the same place?
I don't think that's actually come up. That might be more implicit, that no matter where we're from, we're all Wolverines now.
That is something perhaps to look forward to.
Absolutely.
So I think I am coming to the end here. Just to summarize, you didn't go into the experience of going to college with this preset list of I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do this in order to move from one place in college to another. It sounds like you went in with an open mind, but there was a schedule that everybody as a freshman was following. There were certain kinds of classes you started, and a direction that you were heading off as you learned about things. You're saying because of your experience, then you decided to focus on a certain academic area, and then things became a little bit more narrow.
Yeah, and I would emphasize, I think on the academic side, but applicable to other aspects of life as well, I found it important to have an idea of a general direction I wanted to take without mentally committing myself to a very specific plan of action. Because when you do set that course, if you say, I want to take this class specifically and then that class and kind of set a linear trajectory, then one, there's opportunity for that to not happen. And two, you don't know if what you thought at the time you wanted to do is right, or if those classes were actually the right classes for you. So it was valuable for me to keep a sense of where I wanted to go without specifically laying out what exactly it was I was going to do.
This is an extremely valuable point because you're illustrating that although you don't have a specific goal where you're doing step 1, 2, 3, 4, leading to this specific goal, even though you don't have this specific goal, you are still making progress toward where you need to be.
Yes, it's allowing myself flexibility is what it is.
I say that because there is a great concern, especially with parents, that the money that they invest in their children's higher education result in more than a good time. I'm not sure that I know anyone anymore who's going to college just to have a good time. But that it results in quantifiable tools or a job at the end of it. And I hear a lot of parents saying, my child wants to become a lawyer. My child wants to do this. And so I want them to start at the beginning in this, course because it's going to lead to this. And I personally think that's a mistake. And you're doing a good job of illustrating that if you have a good sense about the fit of the college and what you need for yourself as you go along, you're going to be fine. And you're going to end up doing what you need to do best.
Exactly. And I think that ending up with maybe what you're saying parents expect, ultimately by the time you graduate, you probably want to have that clear expectation of where you're going, having completed a major. And you probably need to have that direction set. Certainly if you're a junior, then you need to have an idea of what you're doing by that point. But you shouldn't expect to know what that is your first semester freshman year. That's where the mistake would be. And I can say for myself, actually, briefly, that I declared chemistry and started taking courses in that direction and realized I don't want to pursue a traditional field in chemistry. I do have applications of chemistry to my interest, which is energy and sustainability, but I'm now doing a more flexible major within the chemistry department that allows me to take chemistry classes as are relevant to what my interests, which I've over the last 2 years realized what they are.
So you've allowed your interests to evolve, but you've kept that interest of chemistry kind of as the central point.
Yeah, but if I had fully committed myself to chemistry and kept taking the chemistry major courses towards being a traditional chem major, then I would be unhappy.
Right.
So I've allowed myself to be flexible with that.
Yeah, that takes some guts and a walk in the unknown, which is what college is for, a walk in the unknown with safety nets in place. Okay, so I am going to ask you to give a takeaway because I end my interviews with a takeaway, and I'm going to ask you to do a takeaway for high school seniors. I'd like you to imagine yourself talking to a high school senior, and I'd like you to tell them what going to college is like in a different place, because you grew up and went to high school in one sort of place, and you are in a completely different state in a lot of ways.
I think your phrasing of a walk in the unknown translates well here. I think that, you get dropped off and you have no idea physically where you are, socially where you are, academically what's going on. Everything is up for grabs from the moment, your parents leave and all of a sudden you're just there. And I would say my word of advice would be take that walk, literally. Go outside, or first explore your room, then explore your building, and then go for a walk around campus and explore the broader neighborhood. A lot of students stay in campus, directly on the physical campus, and never learn the larger Ann Arbor area. And I can't say I'm an expert, but I would say I know a lot more about greater Ann Arbor than the average student, which is still not saying much. But we all have Google Maps on our phone now, so go out, let yourself get lost, and then figure out where you are and get back. And get a grip on your surroundings, your physical surroundings, because the other stuff, especially socially, won't be able to come so quickly. So at least let yourself be comfortable with the physical domain. Set that aside so that you're comfortable there, and then you can focus on everything else. If you're lost physically, that's going to make everything that much harder. So do what you can, push yourself, and don't be afraid to get lost a little bit, because you'll be able to find your way back.
That is really, really great advice, a really great piece of takeaway. I was thinking how going to college, people think about the academics. And I brought up academics and the concept of going to college and the concept of evolving as a person. On the other end of college, when you graduate, you need to find a job or go to grad school, but it's a different experience than being an undergrad. And enlarging the experience of going to college by not always focusing on staying on campus is a big part of growing. You have to know how to apply that, and doing that during the time that you have all the safety nets. That's an opportunity that I think a lot of people don't take. So thank you for that piece of advice. So Aaron, thank you so much for doing the Leveling Up interview.
Thank you.
Going to College 101.
I enjoyed it quite a lot.
Excellent. We are still in the COVID-19 pandemic, so I'm hoping that you get to go back to Ann Arbor in the fall.
Me too.
Physically. And thank you.
Thank you.